There was once a little girl named Boma who went to the river to fetch water. She filled her huge calabash. As she got water, she sang. The song was so beautiful that all of the animals around her, even the crocodile and the hippopotamus, all stopped to listen to the little girl. Behind a bush, there was a wicked man with a drum who sat and listened too. As Boma was filling up her calabash, the man carried her and put her into his drum, which was bigger than she was. The man said to her,
Little girl, you sing well. Now listen to me. When I beat this drum, you will sing. If you do not sing, I will kill you.
She was very scared, so she agreed. The man took his big drum with the little girl inside and went away. His village was far away, so he had to spend the night in another village before he got to his own. The chief of the neighboring village agreed for him to spend the night. He told the chief he would play a song on his drum for their kindness. He beat the drum and Boma began to sing. She sang, and all the villagers listened happily to the beautiful music. Play your singing drum again. But the man said,
I am hungry and tired, and I cannot play my drum until I eat.
The people heard this and hurried to fill their baskets with good things to give him to eat. There were big pumpkins, oranges, and bananas with fresh milk. He ate and drank until it was all gone. Then again. He beat the drum, and Boma began to sing. And she sang until it was midnight. She sang lullabies and did not stop until all of the villagers were sound asleep. Then, when everyone had gone to bed, the man opened up the top of the drum and gave Boma one small orange, even though she was very hungry after so much singing. When it was morning, the man went away and took his drum to another village. The same thing happened as the night before, but this time the people even cooked more food with a huge turkey, which he gobbled and left none for Boma. From village to village he went, and wherever he went, it was always the same. No one had ever heard such beautiful sounds as it came from the singing drum. And so, wherever he went, people feasted with him and gave him all the good things they could find. He always shared very little food with Boma. When Boma had not returned home for days, her mother and father went to look for her by the river. When they got there was no Boma, only a big calabash, nearly filled with water. Along the river's edge, a crocodile blinked at them, and her parents asked him if he had eaten their little girl. But he shook his head and swam away. A giraffe was munching at the treetops, and they called to him.
Oh, giraffe, you with your long neck that looks over there. Have you seen our little girl?
But the giraffe shook his head and went on eating. Then they met a hyena, an ugly, unpleasant fellow. Hyena, please, do you know where our little girl is? But the hyena only laughed a nasty laugh and slunk away. For many days, they wandered around looking for their daughter, but no one had seen or heard of her. The little girl was nowhere to be found. One evening, tired and hungry, they stopped at a village and asked to spend the night. The villagers welcomed them and told them that there was another stranger staying in the village that night, but there was still room for more. The other stranger was the man with the drum that sang. He beat the drum and it began to sing. Boma, hidden inside, sang songs about the beautiful things she had known when she lived outside the drum in the bright sunshine. About little antelopes running through the tall grass, about the gentle bleating of newborn baby kids, and about blue mountains reaching for the sky. Because she was so sure she would never see these things again, she sang sad songs about happy things, and they were lovelier than any songs she had ever sang. No sooner had she had begun to sing when her mother, sitting close to the drummer, started to cry, for she had recognized the voice of her little dear girl. But her father looked sternly at his wife, and she stopped crying and listened. For hours and hours the drum sang, and each song was more beautiful than the one before. When the singing was done for the night and he could play no longer, he was fed by all the people in the village. He said he ate and drank enough for 10 men, while Boma's father sat near him and flattered him about his wonderful drumming and urged him to eat and drink some more. At last, when he had drunk enough for 20 men, he gave a great yawn and fell asleep. All the people in the village went to their houses to sleep, but Boma's parents only pretended to sleep. When they were sure that everyone was asleep and the drummer was snoring louder than a lion, they crept up to him. Quietly, quietly, they untied the ropes that held the drum skin to the drum and peeped inside. There was their little girl, small and thin, and frightened and lonely. Come out, come out, they whispered to her and held her tight. Then her father took a little fire on a stick and crept out into the forest. Near an old tree, he held the stick of fire, and after a moment, many, many bees came out of a hole in the tree, for they did not like the smoke from the man's fire. As they swarmed around, not knowing where to go, the man put the stick close to them, and they flew ahead of him to escape the smoke. In this way, he drove them ahead and right back to the village of the sleeping people and up to the man's empty drum. Seeing the nice hole in the drum, quite like a hole in a dead tree, the bees all flew in, and the father snapped the drum skin over the drum and smiled. Then the family went to sleep. Morning came, and when everyone woke up, they begged the man to play his drum again. No one noticed the strange little girl who was there, for they talked of nothing but the beautiful songs of the drum. Please, please, they begged the man over and over again. Play the drum for us before you go. And then the man rubbed his stomach and said,
I could play the drum quite well if I only had a little breakfast.
and the people then promised him that they would feed him with even more food than the night before, and would give him many presents if he would only play one little short song before they went away. And so the man agreed.
One little song. That's all.
He beat the drum, but nothing happened. Again and again, he beat the drum, but nothing happened. Nothing at all. By now, all of the people were laughing and laughing at him. Then he threw his drum on the ground and kicked it and shouted at it, but still the drum was silent. At last, he picked up the drum and ran angrily out of the village, shouting to the drum.
I told you I would kill you if you do not sing, and now I will.
So saying, he tore off the drum skin to kill Boma, but oh my! Came the bees, so many of them, and they flew after the man and chased him away, and no one ever saw or heard of him again. As for Boma, she sang a beautiful song for the people before they went back to their gardens to work, and everyone gave her good things to eat. Then she and her mother and father began their journey home.